Honestly, without Treasure Coast Community Health, I think we'd be a much poorer community in terms of our health. We're always striving to fill the gap for everyone in the community, rich or poor.
Good afternoon and welcome to Community Conversations. It's so nice to have you dialed into our station today because I've got two incredible guests to talk about a program you may not have heard of yet, but it's very important to our community. So I'd like to welcome Nancy Luna and Ryan Butler, both here.
Thank you.
From the Controller's Office of the county. That's not your official term, I know. Really, Access to Justice Self-Help Center. And so that program just kicked off within this last year. Is that right, Ryan?
That's correct. We started at the end of September of last year.
Okay, so about 9 months under your belt, coming up to a year.
Right.
And so how did this idea come about, the Self-Help Center?
Well, so the idea actually started with my predecessor, Jeffrey Smith, when he was the Clerk of Court. Jeff recognized that there was a real need in the courthouse for an office to assist people with filing cases, filing paperwork needed for cases when they didn't have an attorney.
Okay.
And he always wanted to do something to assist those customers, and it was always a matter of funding because the Clerk of Court doesn't use taxpayer funds to operate the court operations side of our office.
Oh.
And so there was never any funding available to provide the personnel and the office space to help those who didn't have attorneys. Okay. And then in, I think, early 2023, we were approached by the United Way, and they had an idea for funding a self-help center through private donations, and the plan really took off from there.
That is amazing. But is that a role that in other counties, perhaps paralegals would help with filing paperwork?
Well, there are always paralegals in the private sector who are willing to help for a fee, help with paperwork. There are other clerk's offices around the state that have a self-help center for people who are not represented by attorneys. We are the first one on the Treasure Coast, and Nancy is actually a paralegal, and so she's able now to assist people with she doesn't give legal advice, but she can certainly assist people with filling out the forms that are necessary for the types of cases that we handle at the self-help center.
And so that's a natural lead-in for me to ask you, what kind of cases can you help with?
So at the Self-Help Center, we handle cases that deal with family law, which is paternity, divorce, child support, temporary custody, things under that nature, name change, legal name change. And on the civil side, we handle small claims and evictions.
And do small claims still go up to 400?
No, small claims is less than 8,000.
Oh, boy, things change. I just told my age, didn't I?
Yes.
I think the filing fee is about $400 now for a small claims action.
Wow. Okay. And that has to be paid regardless of whether they use the self-help center or not.
Yes. So if they try to get that waived fee, we have an indigent application that they must fill out. It's reviewed by the clerk's office, and then they tell them if they're declared indigent, they waive the filing fee. If not, they must pay it, at the time of opening the case.
And are all the filing fees different depending on the type of case?
Yes. They range anywhere from, I would say, probably $185 to anywhere to up to like $400, depending on the case.
Are there other things that I'm not thinking of that new people come in unfamiliar with this whole process that they frequently ask you?
Yes. So a lot of times they want to file a name change per se, and they don't know what the requirements are, or they just want to file the case and they don't know that there's requirements per se. To file a name change case, you must live in Indian River County. So you must be a resident of Indian River County to file here. If you live in St. Lucie, you'll have to file there. So that's like one of the requirements. And that's one of the things that if you come to the Self-Help Center, will inform you that that is a procedure, as well as for a divorce, what requirements, what the procedure is, and how to move forward with opening your case.
Okay. There's a lot to this legal system, I know.
Yes, it is.
So Jeff, you said that that your office doesn't use taxpayer funding. How do you get paid then?
So, well, on the court operations side, we don't have enough time to talk about exactly how we get paid.
Okay.
But in a
You
nutshell,
open that can of worms. I'm sorry. I'm just chasing it.
In a nutshell, the way that it works is all the fines and fees that are collected by the clerks of court around the state. So we've got 67 clerks in the state of Florida, and all the fines and fees from traffic cases, filing fees for lawsuits, goes into a trust fund in Tallahassee. And there is a statutory corporation called the Clerk of Court Operations Corporation that then takes all of the money in that trust fund and divvies it up every year among the 67 clerks. And so they tell us what we get to operate the court operations on an annual basis.
Well, that's a unique system, and I'm glad you explained it in terms that even I could understand.
and it's always less than what we bring in, unfortunately, but that's how the process works.
I understand. So tell us a little bit more about why United Way and then you all thought that there was a need out there. What kind of feedback did you get besides from Jeff, which everyone trusted and admired and miss? What kinds of feedback had you been getting?
Well, during the pandemic, there was a moratorium on evictions. And that moratorium lasted for, I think, about 2 years.
Close to it.
But certain types of evictions were allowed to proceed. And then once that moratorium was lifted, the floodgates opened. And Nicole Menz, who was a county court judge, noticed that there was going to be a problem with the backlog of these cases. So she got the idea, and with the help of United Way and Florida Rural Legal Services, created a mediation program that took place at the courthouse for both sides of evictions. And that, I think, sparked the interest in the United Way for, well, maybe there's also the need for expanding beyond eviction cases and going on to family court cases. And they contacted one of our circuit court judges, Cynthia Cox. And Judge Cox, who at that time was doing family cases, knew firsthand the difficulties of dealing with parties who were not represented by attorneys. In your average divorce case, there are about 14 different forms that have to be filed for that case to proceed. And when you don't have an attorney, and the law is hard for attorneys, and I'm an attorney, and it's not easy. If you're not an attorney, imagine trying to fill out 14 different legal forms and get them right before the judge. And Judge Cox noticed how much time she was spending telling parties, this form is wrong, you're going to have to go back and fill this out correctly, and then come back to me when it's right.
Which is so frustrating for the people on the other side of it, because they just want this done. Nobody likes dealing with the law, let's be honest.
No. And it was taking up so much of her time, and so she really thought that it could help to have someone like Nancy who could assist people who don't have attorneys in filling out the forms and getting it done right the first time. And then when they file it, now it goes before the judge, and things are much easier. It's much more efficient for the courts, and cases get to resolve much faster than they did.
Well, and in doing this and setting up this process, you have some physical locations as well as some electronic means, since it started immediately post-COVID. So where are you physically at, Nancy?
So on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we are at the courthouse, inside the courthouse, room 157. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're at United Against Poverty. We have a remote office there, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
But it's open for the entire county. I always hate to forget about North County.
Yeah.
So if they were in North County, what kind of more electronic means could they use if transportation was a problem?
Right. So we have our legal kiosk, which is a website that we have that they can come into the actual office and use. But if they can't make it to the office, whether it be at the courthouse or at the Up Center, then they can access the legal kiosk from their device, their phone or their home computer, library, or remotely. And it's the same exact thing. So,
and how would they get to that?
So on the clerk's website, Clerk of the Court, we have a link there, Access to Justice. They would click on that link and it takes them directly to the legal kiosk.
And then is it like a menu on your kiosk that says this is for family law or name change or evictions?
So it's very user-friendly. You click on there, there's different areas. If you're looking for forms, if you're looking for community resources, if you want to attend a Zoom hearing that's being held with the court, they can do that. Did I mention, yes, community resources? So there's different areas on the legal kiosk, and they just have to click on the one section that they're looking for. If they want to go in and look for divorce paperwork, it's going to ask them the required questions to file a divorce, and then they go from there. Do they have minor children? Do they have property? Is somebody pregnant? Those are questions.
From those questions, then, does it guide them to the correct forms?
Then it takes them directly to the package that they need with all the required forms. It's not this, or that. It's everything that they need in one section.
And if they are at their home or on a phone that connects up to, I've forgotten exactly what they call it, but a printer of some kind, an air printer.
Yes.
Then they could print them out.
They can print them.
Okay.
And then it also has the capability of the pro se litigant filling out the forms on the legal kiosk and actually emailing them to the self-help center for review with an appointment, and then we can go over the forms to make sure that they're complete and all the required forms are filed. That way the court case doesn't have any procedural delays.
And the judges are happy.
Yes,
I'll
very.
bet. And now, refresh my memory, this is without a fee.
Yes. So
even if they call you?
Yes. Even if they call me, they can call us directly to our office. Our number is 772-226-3162. And usually I answer right away unless I'm with a customer, and then, I'll call them back. But they can call us for procedural questions to set up attorney consultations. That's the other service that we offer is if we don't, we can't give them legal advice, but the attorneys can. So we have attorney consultations available that deal with the family law, small claims and evictions. Our consultations are $1 per minute with the attorneys with the minimum purchase of 15 minutes.
Wow.
30, 45 minutes or an hour.
So clearly we have a lot of generous attorneys in town that are donating their time.
Yes, they donate their time, and they have consultations with our pro se litigants to guide them through their legal case or issues.
And it's important to note the difference between representation and consultation. So our volunteer attorneys will consult with someone about their legal issues and direct them to the right cause of action.
Like a relative that happens to be very knowledgeable giving advice.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. And when someone comes in and schedules a consultation, we match them to an attorney who has an expertise in that particular area. So if they have a family law question, they will get to talk to a family law attorney. If they have a small claims question, they'll talk to a civil attorney who specializes in that area.
And does Nancy facilitate that?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
I can do that if they call me or come into the office, but that's also available online to schedule online.
Very good.
Now, if they need representation and they cannot afford an attorney, there is an organization, the Gifford Legal Services Clinic, which does provide representation, and it's based on...
I want you to hold that thought.
Okay.
Because you're going into a whole other subject area, and we've got to have a word from our sponsors. So stay with us. We'll be right back. I know you're dying to hear the rest of the answers, so we'll be back in just a minute or two. Listen to our sponsors, please. Treasure Coast Community Health in-house pharmacies have the lowest prices in Indian River County, even lower than big box pharmacies. Taking your medication as prescribed leads to better health. Affordable medicine makes it easier. Treasure Coast Community Health patients can pick up medicine as they leave the office or use free delivery and mail order services. Pharmacists are always available to answer questions. Switch to TCCH pharmacies. Save money, stay healthy. 772-257-8224 and ask about our price match.
It's time to call Easy Brew Coffee and Bottled Water Service and learn just how much you can save and how convenient it is to have your coffee and bottled water delivered right to your home or office. In addition to water coolers, Easy Brew offers individual bottles of water in 8 or 16-ounce bottles. No more lugging it home or dragging it into the office. Serving the Treasure Coast for over 2 decades, 2 letters, 1 simple name. Easy for Easy Brew. Visit e-zbrew.com or call 800-792-3285. Easy Brew.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats and chairs in all the latest styles and colors from Tommy Bahama, Lexington, Hooker, Riverside, Universal, Four Seasons, Braxton Color, and Capri. We're the outdoor furniture experts and have hundreds of styles of any patio furniture you need, including a gallery of Berlin Gardens and Bollywood. We specialize in fire pits, outdoor rugs, umbrellas, and replacement cushions. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in the Publix Plaza, Vero Beach. Family owned and operated since 1991. Don't forget to visit our outlet store directly across the street, filled with lots of name brand closeouts and sale items. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Have a sunshine day. Sunshine.
And welcome back to Community Conversations. If you're just joining us, this is Vicki Soule from Treasure Coast Community Health, where we provide primary care for you, your family, your best friend, and hopefully all of your relatives as well, because we know that maintaining good health is really challenging in terms of all the other things that are going on in people's lives. But we do have appointments open, whether you need a doctor, a dentist, someone to talk to for therapy, or if you just need a better source of getting your medications, come in and see one of our docs. The number is 257-8224, and they'll ask you which of our 8 locations would be most convenient for you, and we will get you in. So today I've got the privilege and delight to be talking with Nancy Luna and Ryan Butler from the county clerk's office. That's as far as I'm going because I'm terrible with titles. But they have access to Justice Self-Help Center, and it's not quite a year in the making. But Ryan, during the break, you said, would you like to know how many people have used it since we opened in September? And the number is, drum roll, please.
As of yesterday, 901.
Wow. Almost 1,000 people. Well, it's 1,000 people a month, basically, if you've been open for about 6 months. 9 months. Well, sorry. Yeah. Math. Sorry. It's the 6th month, but you start in September. Yeah. So that's fantastic. And are those primarily in family law or pretty well distributed, Nancy, between family
right now
and...
it's probably even a little bit higher on the small claims and eviction side, the civil side.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That means people's lives are really disrupted.
But of those 900, about 650 were assisted at the courthouse and 250 at the Up Center. So that's a little...
I suspect that's the first time many of that 650 have actually been in the courthouse, thankfully. Mm-hmm. Not that it's a bad place, but, when you want a enjoyable, peaceful life, you don't usually go to the courthouse.
That's right. Yeah.
That's true. Some people avoid the courthouse.
Yes. Some do.
Yeah.
Although if you're called for jury duty, you show up.
You must
That's
go.
the right thing to do.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Ryan, before we took a break, and I'm sorry I had to interrupt you, you started to tell us about those folks that had an attorney consult and then needed to move on to find an attorney for representation. The difference being that one's like a special aunt or uncle that's very knowledgeable and gives you advice with no obligation for follow-up. And yet, for some, that's insufficient. They must move on to an attorney. And if they don't have the funds to afford an attorney, where can they go?
So there's a Gifford Legal Services Clinic which is available and charges on a sliding fee. So it's not entirely free for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It may be free for some.
Okay.
But based on your ability to pay, they can certainly help with representation. And while consultation just involves the giving of advice, representation involves going to court, filing the paperwork, et cetera, for a particular case.
Where they can stand up in the court on your behalf.
And represent you in court. And so the Gifford Legal Services Clinic does exist for representation purposes. And they're at giffordlegal.org is their website. And so anyone who needs representation rather than consultation, we would encourage them to contact the Gifford Legal Services Clinic.
And again, clearly, since they're helping folks who can't afford regular rates, these are folks that are willing to give up their time. Are they the same group of attorneys, or is there some overlap between those that give consults and those that are then working for the Gifford League?
I believe that they are a different set of attorneys.
Huh? That's wonderful. I mean, it's kind of spreading the wealth, and we're so grateful for all the folks in our communities that do offer pro bono services or discounted rates, because we know that everyone needs to have good health, good representation, good food sources, and we have a very caring community. And you guys are certainly demonstrating that, in that this is a continuing process. And for those of you that weren't with us at the beginning of the show, Nancy said that she's out at the clerk's office, county court.
Yes.
5 days a week?
3 days a week.
3 days a week.
Monday,
You're working
Wednesday,
5 days a week.
Yes. Total.
And sometimes more.
Yeah, I believe that.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the courthouse location. And then we have a remote office at United Against Poverty, and we're there Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And the hours are general business hours?
On the courthouse, it's 8:30 to 4:30, and at United Against Poverty, it's 9 to 5.
Okay. So they're business operating hours. Okay. Is there anything else in the couple of minutes we have remaining that you'd like to share that I haven't asked, or that you thought again about?
Well, so we have some things on the horizon that we're very excited about.
Yes.
The United Way, through its community partners, have funded an additional position so that Nancy's going to get some help at the Self-Help Center. And we're also getting 2 new locations.
Oh, I can't wait to ask what they are. Yeah. Can you say?
Sure. Nancy, do you want to?
Felsmere. And,
wonderful.
Is it North County?
North County. The clerk's office we have a North County office.
Okay.
That's on US 1. And we're planning on putting a kiosk there and having someone there as well.
Oh, that is great. I'm so glad. And again, multi-thanks to the United Way, which has been funding all of this since the get-go. So again, thank you that contribute to the United Way. That is an ongoing need of our community, to have funds donated for these types of specific programs that benefit the entire community. And so I thank you all for coming and telling us about it.
Thank you.
When can we see the new offices? 25? 2025 or sooner?
No, I think we're looking for this year.
Yeah.
And we'll certainly let you know.
Okay,
yes,
that sounds like a plan. And tell us one more time your phone number and your email address.
Yes. So it is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're at the courthouse. Our phone number there is 772-226-3162. United Against Poverty, same number. And we're there Tuesdays and Thursdays. And our email is shcirc@clerk.indian-river.org.
So again, that was a very long one. If they're on the web, they can just go to the county website, and there's a link for you all there.
Yes.
Well, it's IndianRiverClerk.com.
Okay, that's a lot easier to remember. IndianRiverClerk.com. Thank you guys both so much.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
And thank you all for being with us to the end of the program. And I hope you mark your dials so that you remember next Saturday at 4:30, because we have wonderful guests from around the community, as demonstrated today. Thank you, and have a great evening.